Welcome back to the press, and if you're just joining us, trust me, you've missed, well, not too much like I like to say, because we just finished our newspaper reviews, and now we move over to the segment where we get to invite our guest. Today with us in the studio is Dr. Onuoha Nnachi, infrastructure economist, financial expert, and a public policy analyst. Of course, welcome to the studio with us.
Thank you, thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Lovely to have you.
Thank you.
I have such amazing titles.
That's who I am, though.
Anyway, viewers, be remembered that our phone lines are open for you to call in and make your contributions known. Well, sir, you do not look like the scarcity is biting any hard on you, because I can see on most of the headlines, they say more banks close branches for lack of cash to pay customers. But you don't seem to look it. I don't think you're experiencing this sort of scarcity when it comes to fuel and cash.
So, the first question is, if you say more bank closed, then why are they closing? Are they really closing because they don't have cash to pay, or because customers are attacking them? And if customers are attacking them, what are they attacking them for? And is it because there's no cash? I don't think so. There could be more to it.
So are you saying that there's no scarcity of cash?
I don't think there's scarcity of cash.
You don't think?
Are you in Nigeria? Are you in Nigeria?
I am.
Because it feels like every newspaper for today actually reads, for Daily Trust, I have Naira crisis, food traders count losses, slash prices of wares. Even POS operators are even feeling it. Expert dissect situation, federal government official, Lord's development. Emefiele, INEC chair brief Council of State today. And let's not forget that today is actually the deadline for the cash policy drama. Yeah,
when you say Emefiele, INEC, the brief Council of State, it's not because of the swap issues. It's for the election matters. The law requires that 2 weeks to the election, Council of State will definitely meet. It's for the election matter. This is compliance to the law. Okay. And that's why they are meeting to discuss some issues about it. And what are the issues? First and foremost, you need to understand that policies naturally have resistance.
Okay.
And I think this particular policy is facing resistance. And it is that resistance that makes it look like it's trouble, when it is not. Remember, the policy they are talking about is about 1,500 and 200 notes. What happens to our 100 Naira note and 50 Naira note? Those ones are still in circulation. Nothing has happened to it. It's a case of moral obligations. Rather, I would say one thing is, the CBN did not do a lot of mobilizations in terms of education. The level of enlightenment done by the CBN did not penetrate as much as they should, so that people will prepare for it. If I'm a CBN governor and I'm going to do this policy, I will start it a year ago and start mopping up the note out of the circulations. And you won't even know they're out of circulation. If you look for it, you won't see it. You'll be forced to use the lower denominations. But that being as it is, if you take this policy down to the rural areas, they are still transacting in the lower denominations. They are transacting in 100 Naira, they are transacting in 50 Naira. We are so used to carrying big money. You hold one bundle of 1,000, it gives you 100,000, it's in your pocket, it looks so big, and you have it. You cannot accept now that that bundle should be a bundle that worth 10,000. And that resistance is what is. So, and I think, yes, one thing I will even call CBN to do, because we keep hearing the banks claiming, oh, there's no money and all that. And CBN said we are releasing the money. Can CBN kindly publish this amount they release to the banks? The last I heard from them, they said they release to every bank as a 10 million or 20 million every day. So, give us publications. Okay, this bank has 1,000 branches. This is what I release to them on daily. This is what I've mopped out. And the information will know who is responsible and who is not responsible, if anything like that. But human nature naturally provides. When you introduce a policy, when you introduce a technology, when you introduce a new philosophy, there are various reactions. There are psychological reactions, there are emotional reactions, there are economic reactions, there are security reactions. So the ability to gather them together and address them collectively is what makes a policy smooth to integrate, smooth to do. But this policy is good for the country, and we desire such a policy now.
All right.
Okay.
You had said earlier while you were talking that this policy is ill-timed. Now, do you support the Supreme Court's ruling that old notes should not be banned?
The Supreme Court ruling, I guess you're just kind of misquoting it, though.
The ex parte order.
It's an ex parte order. It's not a judgment. It's not a decision.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a kind of place a hold, T15th of this. But at the same time, those that went to the court to seek that ex parte order, they did not join the CBN in their request. And court doesn't grant you what you did not ask for. You did not say stop CBN. You sue the masters of CBN. And the masters of CBN has not given instruction to CBN. And there's nothing CBN can do about it. You sue the federal government. In as much as we say that CBN is independent, one would have expected, if I'm the one filing that suit, I will address my lawyer. I will sue the federal government. I will join the CBN. I will join the Mefele and all deputy governors. Specifically, I will even join the deputy governor in charge of bank supervision in the suit. But where you excluded CBN clearly in this suit, what do you expect them to do? The man that gave them approval has given the approval. Until he states otherwise, they cannot stop any action. They cannot. And I don't expect them to stop any action.
All right, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning. You're welcome to the press. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Good morning. My name is Muhammad Yusuf Ahmad.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Kaduna State.
All right, please join the conversation.
So, I heard your guest is talking in a good way, but what I want to add is we Nigerians are suffering now. Are you with me?
Yeah, we're with you.
We Nigerians are suffering. Suffering because of few people, because of few people are dictating us in this country. This CBN governor told us that they printed 300 billion naira, while they mop up almost 2-point-something trillion. Let me tell you something. Here in the north, we are in mess. The issue is serious, I'm telling you. And I'm saluting my governors, especially the Kaduna State governor, because they have done a good job. Despite some people are accusing them one thing or the other because they are not talking this and that, but they have done something. What is helping Nigerian people now is the old note that is circulating. If there is that old note, I'm telling you, something, I don't even know how to say it. Because the new Naira note is not in circulating. The old Naira note is what is helping now. That's what is going on. And
Unfortunately, we lost that call, but of course we heard him make his point.
I think you can hear from him that if you resort to using the old Naira notes, things move to a reasonable extent. I cannot say there are no challenges. But these challenges are perception based. I've walked into a bank of recently and I told my cash officer, I need 500,000 naira. Old notes. I said, I don't need a new note. Give me 150 naira.
Okay.
And they arranged it and gave to me. So, if you look at it from that perspective of accepting the reality and don't be in resistance to it, if I have walked in and said, I need 40,000 new notes, he will not give me. He will tell me it's not available, one issues or the other. Now, let us be very realistic what this is trying to achieve. There are people ordinarily on a weekly basis. They send requests to the bank, I need 10 million cash, I need 20 million cash. It's not a common person that this policy is affecting most of. These people are the people that take this cash in bulk and do all kind of illegality with it. So it is clearly up, and anybody looking at this policy that it is a Mefele's policy, it means you're not a student of history in this country. From the day Buhari entered, I predicted that he would do this. Because when he was head of state as a military person, he did it in 1984. So I would not expect anything different. And because of expectation that Buhari would do this, that was what even made people those that had heavy cash started mopping it into foreign currency, which led to the high rise of our Naira depreciation. Yeah. I think that was that. And people were scared that he's going to repeat what he did as a military head of state. But now he did it when he came first in 1983, and that led them, Babjide kick him out and say, hey, our brother, this what you're doing is not what we agreed when we were plotting this coup, we were deviating. And they eased him out of it. But this time when he came, he waited till he finished everything. Right now, he's so certain that he has no policy to send to National Assembly for request for approval. He has no bill to send. Then he brought it in. It is the man agenda. It is not anybody call him Emefiele because he's just governor of central bank. Because you judge people by their history. 1983-84, he did the same thing. But the difference now is, in that time, there was complete change of the currency, complete change. But now, you still have something to rely on. Why not rely on those things? And then move on. It's like you have a new car and you have an old car. And your old car is seized, impounded. Please use the old car and be happy first. Whoever that impounds it will release it back. Just wait.
All right, as an economist, can you shed more light on this cashless policy thing? How it will affect, the economic development of the nation?
It really will not affect, rather it will enhance us.
Okay, great. Okay.
A typical example, I saw CBN report yesterday where they said they've done over 13 or 30 trillion in the month of January. Transactions that have passed through platforms. Okay. So we are gradually now moving into pure cashless policies where, yes, it will implement. Now, this is what it does. It makes transactions faster. Transactions are trackable. Our economy can be documented. We don't allow the man in World Bank or IMF to tell us it is 1 naira, is $1 that you need to feed somebody in Nigeria. Oh, that our minimum wage is 30 naira. But now you begin to track it that it's no longer 30,000 as minimum wage. It's like you see somebody that is operating on a lift in Abuja here. Just go to Federal Secretary, see the man that is operating a lift. Let me give you that scenario. He's operating on 30,000 salary, and every day he comes to work. Before he closes at that work, he'll get 5,000 donations from contribution, people passing through the lift cash. But you cannot track that. But if they were tracking, sending him this money, thank you, let's send you this money, thank you, you can know his income.
Yeah.
Before that, you cannot know his income. We are talking about the inclusion of the economy. Economic inclusion becomes this thing. So for that micro point of economic development, then you can begin to properly plan. You can begin to properly have a record of what it is. It got to a point where CBN could no longer give account of the cash in circulation. Where it became so difficult that even government borrowing were going into ways and means. As of my last check, ways and means borrowing was already about 24 trillion. How much is 24 trillion for you to just walk into the printing house and print it like that and push it out as cash? We know the effect in economic development when you talk about demand and supply of cash. We had this thing too much, and it will continue. So what this policy is doing is gradually mopping this and mopping it and mopping it with the clean it up, and that alone will help. Like if we look at it from macroeconomics and from microeconomics and take these things to the rural areas. Today is Friday. Last weekend I was in my village. I don't really see them feeling it. You know why? They were trading in their 50 naira and their 100 naira. I personally went to the community market. You see a gallon of oil that is being sold for 700 naira. They will count the 50 naira and pay and collect their money, count the 100 naira and pay. So it's the ability to accept these denominations as a transactional denomination. What this policy is trying to say, limit the level you use the cash. We can use the cash for petty transactions. A typical example, if you have 10,000 naira of 100 naira, 50 naira, you can comfortably go and buy bole and buy granite and eat with that money. But when you walk into an exclusive supermarket to shop, please keep that cash away, pay with a card, so that we can know the spending. that is going there, so that we can even know what exclusive supermarket make, and then we get effective tax system. But when you pay cash, they can declare anything. This is their income for the day. This is their revenue for the day. They can declare that. So we are trying to even increase our tax base from this. So you look at it from that macro point of view. The tax base of entrepreneurs, of business owners will begin to increase. Some of them that will just come and say, oh, we didn't make any money, and they declare 1 naira in tax. Well, okay, try this time around, because your revenue can be tracked, and the tax base will increase. Well, once the tax base increases, it means government will have more money, and they will do more things, if a good government comes in.
All right, let's quickly take this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. I'm back.
Oh. Okay, welcome back.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you for calling back.
What I'm saying is that government say, the CBN says they print 300 billion naira, and they collected 2 trillion. You understand? And we didn't see this money in circulation. And what we are seeing is that almost 200 billion naira new printed note has been shared between politicians and bigger people in this country. That's why we are in mess. That's why we are in this kind of situation. And what we are fearing is that there are some people that don't want election to take place in this country. I'm telling you this with a louder voice. There are some people that want the government to continue if something bad or crisis or something happen in this country, because this issue might lead to something that we don't want. I will not mention or say it, but it might lead to something that we don't want.
All right.
We want our country. We don't have any other country than Nigeria, but this is a complete political issue. And Imefile, the time that I heard that Imefile was contesting as a president in APC, I even said something. I even said something is going to happen like this.
All right. Thank you very much.
We are tired of this situation. In this meeting that Mr. President will hold with elders in this country, he should address this issue completely. There is no new notes, and the amount of the old notes. We are tired. We are tired. Enough is enough.
All right. Thank you very much. Your voice is heard already. Thank you.
Thank you.
I had his reactions and everything. Yes, there are some clear information that are valid from him, and there are some that are not. Has CBN been able to mop out over 2 trillion? Yes, they've done that. Have they released about 300 billion into it? Yes, they've done that. And did politicians take that money from them? The answer is no. No politician has access to CBN. So how did CBN disclose the money? CBN passed the money through the commercial bank. I need CBN to publish what they gave each banks.
Of course.
And let the banks tell us who collected it from them. When they cannot give that, then you begin to sanction the banks. And you can even threaten to revoke their license of operation. It's a violation. But having said that, this election is very critical for the future of Nigeria. If this will reduce the level of bribery, corruption that takes place in the election, I will call on Nigeria, no matter the pain, endure it. Let's get over it. It's 15 days to election.
Yes.
15 days, that's what is left. So what else is the problem? This is an accumulation of a failed government that we've had for the past 7 years plus. This is an accumulation. The policy is a good policy though. Very lovely one.
Did you say failed government
in the past 7 years?
In the past 7 years plus.
Okay.
But it's an accumulation that is making this policy look like it's a bad one. We have a government who has failed in fuel supply, who has made the price of fuel to go up. Kerosene cannot be bought by the common man, by one government. We have a government who has made an exchange rate move from about 200 to 760 by one government. We have a government who has made bag of rice move from 5,000, 7,000 to 35, 40,000 by one government. It's an accumulation of pains. There were so many scarcity of things that people cannot reach. And this little one triggers the pains of. It's an endurance that the people have taken and like, okay, we can do
But
it.
there's never been a time when citizens say that everything is all peaceful and everything is okay. There has always been times when people will complain of this situation, that situation, this situation. It has always been there.
Human nature,
like
human nature makes us always ask for improvement.
Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely.
But when you ask for improvement, just like 2014, 2015, the mantra of APC was change. So everybody believed it was for improvement, and we jump into it. Little do we realize that we just entered a one-chance vehicle, a deceit, a fraud.
So
and
are you trying to say that the current administration is a fraud?
It's a fraud, it's a deceit. So the level of failure of it has so accumulated. What can you remember them for? There's no legacy to be remembered.
Did you just say there's no legacy?
There's no legacy to be
remembered.
You just talked about how beautiful this cashless policy is. Then we have
Or do you
infrastructure
think? Do you think there should have been things they should have put in place before they actually rolled out the policy?
Okay.
We also have the Electoral Act. Are you saying there's nothing they'll be remembered for?
They've claimed that they've done infrastructures everywhere too.
No, we're just asking you this.
Just laughing. you know, first realize that about infrastructure economics.
Okay.
Also realize that the National Integrated Infrastructure Master Plan of this country.
Okay.
I was one of those that developed it. We were 3 firms that developed it. I led one of the firms to develop it. So I can give you a master plan of Nigerian infrastructure.
Great.
From rail to powers and everything. And I'll begin to ask them. And I'll only take one section to ask them. If you say you've done infrastructure, let me just take power. How many megawatt was added to Nigerian power system? 0. How many kilometers of transmission line was added? 0. How many new substations was built? None. And the population keep increasing. You know, as population increases, the power consumption increases. And that was why you were having incessant national failures, because the demand is sucking and this keep happening. So I don't need to take any other place. I will take power infrastructure and describe it for you. There are 3 legs of it, power infrastructure. It's either you're building more power stations to increase your kilowatt, or you're building the transmission lines to enable you carry more power, or you're building more substation to make sure power gets to home. These are the 3 components of it. As of the time PDP governments were leaving office in 2015, quote me, they left a maximum possible generation of about 19,000.
So what about
and
the road
the
projects?
transmission network was ability to carry about 7,200. Have they been able to change these dimensions and let it move? Even the power station that could generate, they've not been able to carry the power to the homes. So we just have a complete loss of 8 years of our life that we can account for.
So what about the building
and taking us backward.
What of the infrastructures they've been actually banking on?
Give me one. Second Niger Bridge was awarded not by them.
Railroads? Rails?
Which of the rails? They did award NU. Remember, construction is a continuous process. The Jonathan government and the continuation of the Obasanjo government, they are the one that sourced for funds from the Chinese government for rail construction. They sourced for those funds for Chinese for the construction of our rails. Is a loan that was taken and plus a grant that was taken and counterpart funding. There were 3 types of funding into that project. And these were designed. As of the time we were talking about this, the rail designs were done. And we heard about various legs of it, the Abuja Road, the Meduguri, the Port Harcourt and Coast. And these facilities were drawn and under secured. The Chinese construction company were already in the country and they handed over. The airport rehabilitation was the same fund that was done. So can we see new things? Or you just
they are not to carry out the project.
No, if I paid you, you must do it. If the contractor has been paid, he must do it.
So what about the Electoral Act?
They just supervise that. They just supervise the contractor who has been paid, who his funds were made. The construction, the contract for the construction was awarded. The contract for the design was awarded. The contract for construction supervision was awarded. So where's your role? One would expect, as this is going on, you expand it. you create new ones and award those ones. And go and source for another fund. If we use Chinese fund, you could have sourced for Russian fund, EU funds, American fund. And this development, or if these were sourced by a loan, which shows we have developed a pattern there, then why don't we source the other one by enterprise? Or you have moved further to say, okay, rail line has been built in this place. Let's put more vehicles. Because a rail line is like a road constructed. So put more coaches that will run on them so that you have more transaction going on. But they folded their hand to allow this period wasted.
Well, the Minister of Works will definitely beg to
ask him to
differ
meet me.
from what you're saying at the moment.
We know ourselves in the industry.
All right, let's move away from that, because you said the cash scarcity is not biting so hard. It's just that Nigerians have refused to use the old notes in other denominations, because when some people are calling in for old notes conversations, they're probably talking about the old 1,000, the old 500, and the old 200.
Can we go to the old 100, old 50?
Okay, I beg to differ, because most of us have been to the banks and then they bring old Naira notes. We do not say we don't want that money, but at the end of the day, the quality of what they are actually giving out cannot actually be spent. So do you think, as regards this, the CBN could have done better? I mean, like I always say, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, yeah? For you to bring out this policy and say, oh, we want the Naira redesigned, should there have been other policies that would have been put in place to make this effective and everybody won't be going through so much drama right now?
Definitely in the policy change, as CBN has not done well in the policy change. One, the advocacy should have been very heavy. Okay. The level of penetration should have been much possible. And one, they should have made use of their agency banking system very well. We have over 300,000 agency bankers that exist in the world, in Nigerian markets. And those agency bankers should have been the people to carry on, because they're the ones that are in villages and rural areas. And using those mechanisms would have made it much easier. If there's any pain going on there, that would have softened it. But on the urban areas, people cry foul in the urban areas, and which I don't agree with them. Clearly. I don't agree with them, because there are options to it, what you can do. Since this period, after that day, I went to the bank and collected 500,000, those lower denomination. I'm happy and I'm moving on.
There's something that that I just remembered. I don't know if our master control room has a clip. This, you said there are options. Now, made me remember a clip that my colleague here shared with me. Some persons actually printed their own currency. You know, so the video, please pick it up for us. Party. I don't know if the video is shown to our viewers at home.
You transfer money to them, they give you
their own cash.
And you know, the comments that came underneath that
is innovation.
That, you know,
if our culture says you must pray something and dance and we derive funds from it, see, when you come up with a policy, you must come up with the policy must be aligned with your culture, with your behavior of life. A typical American doesn't know what a market is. He's used to supermarket. We go to the real market when we see our command.
Okay, so the video is currently and people are even supporting it. They are like, oh, it's even finer than our current one. You know, this is what we are facing right now. And you still
it's innovation.
Well, Nigerians will always find a way. Where there is a way, there's a way. Absolutely, I agree. All right, I think we should move away from that scarcity, Naira scarcity and no Naira scarcity. Elections is 14 days away. Do you think INEC is ready? INEC is ready. And do you think Nigerians too are ready?
There will be no any other elections that will sound like this particular election. It's a very special election.
Sorry. Before you continue, let's just quickly take this call. Caller has been on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
We can hear you.
My name is Fortune. I'm calling you from Babjide.
All right, please join the conversation.
All right, thank you very much, and I give the analyst in the ourselves been able to do a very wonderful job, clarify, you know, a lot of mysteries as regards to this issue. So I want to also emphasize and tell all the listeners in the house to understand that this issue of the scarcity of Naira that is being talked about is being blown and is being overhyped, and propagated by a section part of, political party that, see the policy unfavorable to them. I've been traveling around every, to some states since the scarcity starts, and I can tell you that the reality on ground is not as harsh and difficult as people are being made, as people are being reported, on television. So I want to say that this is a very, very good development, and we should. And also, I will challenge all the APC apologists to be, to summon the courage to be able to, to go direct to Mr. President and stop blackmailing the CBN governor that is the one doing this. I don't think that Mr. President does not know that such policy is being unfolded. So they should tell themselves the truth and stop playing the ostrich. So if they cannot blame the CBN governor on one side and then try to exonerate the president because they are working together in this, I see them playing hypocrisy, and this is out of cowardice.
All right, no problem. Thank you very much. Your point is noted. All right.
Okay. Regarding the issue of the election, this election is very unique, very classic, and interesting.
Why so?
It's so very. First, the Electoral Act.
Okay.
I think God has heard the cry of Nigerians.
Well, you would still give that as credit to this administration.
No, wait. It's policies. If they needed to get this done, they would have done it in the last election. But they gradually avoided it.
But they did it anyway.
No.
Better late than never.
Exactly.
Hold on. When it became a bipartisan policy, an electoral law, it took the interventions of the opposition parties to bring certain clauses into that act. But that is not the issue. But it is good to appreciate how important this election is. I was just referencing to the Electoral Act because the Electoral Act as it is today has given confidence to the voters, which was lacking before in all our elections. Yeah. And so that made people not to even care about voting, not to care about registering or collect their PVC. But now, with the confidence that has given, people now went out to register, collected their PVCs, and they are ready to cast their vote. Which is why if you look at the statistics published by INEC, almost 13 million were new registrants that came on board. And when INEC put out the data, they were able to tell you the volumes that are students, the volumes that are unemployed, the volume. So this statistics is obvious. And I think that is even an expo they gave to all of them running the election. Because you now know where to focus your campaign and the message to that. But it also telling those groups that has those volumes, come and speak. You can only speak through your votes. This is the opportunity. But as a good student of history, we are going to have a repeat of 1979 election in 2023. Why do you say it's a repeat? In 1979 election, we had Shehu Shagari contesting from the Northwest. We had Amiru Kanu contesting. And in today's election, two of them were from the North. And today's election, we have Atiku Abubakar and we have Opanso. That shows you the similarity. And we had Zik, Nnamdi Azikiwe, from the Southeast, which is P2B. And we have Awolowo contesting, which is so it's the same scenario that I played itself.
But we have more contestants. Anyway.
We have Adewale Adebayo of SDP.
We have Kachichukwu of
ADC. We have Sowore.
Okay.
So there are still other contestants.
We had those people the other election, but we're talking about forerunners. Those that has possibility of winning. So what happened in that election?
Okay.
The election became so divided, it became so sectionalized, where it looked like the North were voting for the North. It became so tribalistic, it became so ethnicity that played itself in. Most likely, we're going to have the same thing play itself out in this election. Most likely. Take my prediction. Take my prediction. It is impossible for the 19 northern states for Atiku not to get to third in any state. Gone. So he's already halfway gone to the 24th state required. So you now see the vote is going to take that pattern and all that. But at the end of the day, in 1979 election, what eventually happened? Shagari won the election. The same thing will repeat itself again. At the end of this election, who is likely to win the election is Atiku Abubakar, because the turnout will still reflect that. Just look at the mock election, the mock registration that INEC did. You see the pattern of registrants that came out to vote. You were seeing 7,000 something from Northwest, 5,000 from Northeast, Southeast at 1,000 and some fractions, Southwest has 2,000 or 3,000. You begin to see the pattern. It's a natural pattern. It's a natural pattern. It goes to tell us the reality of Nigerian behaviors. The northern voters are more enlightened in votes, and their politicians know how to educate them and mobilize them. But whereas the southern voters are less enlightened in voting, but highly enlightened in social media campaign.
Well, they've been saying a lot of things that 2023 will be the shocker year and the decisive year for Nigerians. And polls are saying different from what you're saying. Year, most of the polls are saying
different things.
It's going to be a very good year for the election. But you know, one thing that is certain, the voting pattern. Is INEC ready for this election? I think INEC is super ready. Very ready.
You just said the South is less enlightened about it.
No! I'm playing with statistics.
Okay.
Outside God, the next thing I believe is data.
Okay.
As far as the data shows me, what INEC did in that mock registration, they gave 12 units per state, 4 units per senatorial zone. That's how INEC distributed it to conduct that. And in doing that, you now see that Northwest has 80 polling units, Southwest has 72, Northeast 72, and only Southeast has 60. And they conducted this thing. The output is obvious. We are not doubting it. It shows us the pattern.
Yes.
So for INEC to have done that mock, it tells you they are ready. And the mock participation and the outcome of it, the rate failure of the beavers were less than 2%. Beavers were functioning up to 98%, 99%, and you know that. So it tells us the technology is ready, and please, I will call on Nigerians, come out and vote. If you don't cast your vote, don't complain for the next 4 years.
Okay. Just like you said now, you said Atiku Abubakar is likely to win the election.
He will win the election, not likely.
Oh, you said he will win the election.
He will win the election.
Okay, so do you think that for the incumbent party and the number of governors that they have at the moment, do you still think that the opposition party stands a chance? That's a question. And again, the G5 governors too, you have to consider them as well.
I agree with you. See, that's why I said this election is unique. Technology has been involved in these elections and the power of technology. If this election was before, like 2015 election or 2019 election, there's nothing to be talking about. We know the governors will write the results. But now, the power has moved to the voters. Let nobody before now, results are written in Nigeria. Results are written. So let nobody play around it. But now, what we have, the power of voting has gone to the people, and the people will exercise it. And once they exercise it, you will see the outcome. You will surely see the outcome. It is that power. Let me tell you one thing, if in case you don't understand it. Let me take you through electoral process, a pure election day scenario. Okay. Before you go to a voting unit and you finish voting, maybe the number of registered voters there is 1,000, and people that turns out is 200. And in that particular voting unit, let's assume APC is the popular unit, and they scored 100. Out of that 200, APC scored 180. You know what they would do? The other 800 they didn't turn out. They will just write the result. They will take that 180 plus that those that didn't turn out and write it. Because they are more powerful, they will do that. And that becomes the result. So what the result reflects, the result actually reflects who, the results reflect that APC won, but the margin they now happens to win with is this. This is what used to happen. Vote me anywhere. I can defend it. And this continues. And it also will reflect itself when they go to coalition at the local government.
But that statement is indicting INEC, right?
Yeah.
So it's not a case of indicting INEC, because at that locality, the INEC staff is overpowered. There's nothing he can do. It's overpowered. You send one little boy and call him a PO, a presiding officers, who one big man will come with 7 mobile police, and the boy you say does not have one security protecting him. What do you expect him to do?
Well, there are always security, so I partook in elections.
So, none is assigned to you as a person. There's the security for the environment. But one man is coming with 7 assigned to him. He said he's the chief from that place. How have we done? Where is the result? Where are we going to? Come on. And they repeat these things at the local government center. And this thing keep happening. But you know what we have now? You just vote at that ward, that's your bullying unit. As you finish voting, result goes out. Let that man come with trailer load of police. He can't change it.
Well, even though everybody has been saying this election,
you really cannot change it. So that conviction that my vote will not be changed, the outcome will be the outcome, is what will drag the people to come out to vote. And I'll expect them to come out. And once they come out to vote, I think we will win the election. And we...
Let's quickly take this call before we round up your thoughts. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yeah, I'm coming from Mundo.
All right. Okay. All right.
I can listen to the analyst very well.
Okay.
But what is saying?
Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
Okay. I'm
Yes, we heard you. Please turn down the volume of your TV set.
So the analysts are really listening to him. How can he tell us that I think we win when PDP ruled over for 16 years and we didn't achieve anything? Prince Adewale, talk and do man. Hello?
Please get the volume of your TV set.
Okay.
Or move away from it.
Okay, I'm trying to move away.
Yeah,
better.
So now, we cannot really say the letter will be so unique. And now, you cannot even predict the winner. Because Nigeria now is in a crossroads. Actually, they didn't plan well. They were packaged people that have not been in governance before. And that would have been better. But now telling us that Atiku will win this and that, I don't buy that idea.
All right.
Go ahead, Nigeria.
Amen. God help us. Oh, thank you. Well, you heard him.
Unfortunately, he didn't tell us who will win the election.
Well, he said it's unpredictable.
But he also talked about his own candidates. He said Prince Adewale. So that's
this election, as far as the voters has this confidence, I'm calling on the voters. That's my concern.
Okay.
You see,
please, would like you to round up your thoughts.
I will call on my southern voters, because I know what happens in the south. So I'm calling on the southern voters, those young boys and young men, please. You see, on the 14th, on the 24th.
Sorry to cut you. If you're calling on southern voters, it simply means that you are becoming.
Hold on to my statement.
Okay.
I'm calling on the southern voters, please avoid clubbing on the 24th.
Okay.
Because they will go and party on the 24th, saying Saturday is the election, this. And they will not wake up till 2 o'clock. The election is over. But I know my northern voters. Okay. Friday, they will go to mosques and pray for this election. Even fast for this election. And they will be awake, keep vigil to go and cast these votes.
Yeah.
So I want to use this opportunity to call on this southern voter. After you finish all this, your social media campaign and Twitters and followers, please share you on 24th. Forget about it. Let's get this matter straight. It is very important that we must change this country. And it's only Atiku Abubakar that has the capacity to change this country. We need PDP back and we need Atiku to rule us. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Onuoha. It's really interesting having you here.
It's been an interesting one. Thank you so much.
This is where we end the segment for today. Like you heard him, be ready for the elections and learn to vote. I am Olamide Alhassan.
And I am Messi Babjide. And this is where we bring the press to the end for this week. Stay tuned next week. Bye.